Michael Schumacher's health is a closely guarded secret. Since his accident in 2013, only family and close friends have been given access to the former superstar. In a rare disclosure, Todt has given an update on Schumacher's health. So is he actually recovering? Plus, what were the 4 words of career advice Michael gave his son Mick? Stay tuned for all of that plus more Schumacher news coming right up. First up, old rivalries die hard, and Damon Hill has described Michael Schumacher as his arch nemesis and opened up about what he thinks the German got wrong in his career. Looking back on Michael Schumacher's career, it's easy to just see the trophies. Sometimes we gloss over how exactly he got those trophies. His first world championship came in 1994 and was decided by a very controversial incident where he took out Damon Hill to clinch the season by 1 point. So there's plenty of history between the two drivers. But Damon Hill had a great amount of respect for his rival too. His biggest mistake, according to Hill, was returning to Formula One with Mercedes in 2010. Hill thinks that Schumacher lost some of his instincts that made him such a great driver before. He said, "Something cracks, something gets worn out in the aging process." And Schumacher himself actually admitted back then that age was a factor in some of his disappointing performances. Even his former manager, Will Webber, tried to talk Michael out of re-entering the sport. Webber told him that he could only lose and didn't stand a chance of winning anymore. At the time, Schumacher was over 40 and apparently too bored to stay retired. What he did achieve at Mercedes was laying some of the groundwork for his replacement, Lewis Hamilton, to build on. In some ways, though, Schumacher was coming full circle. He had started his career as a Mercedes-sponsored driver before moving to Benetton, but he will probably always be remembered for his most legendary time with Ferrari. Next, Schumacher's Ferrari sold off. How much does it cost to buy a piece of Formula One history? If you are a Ferrari fan, then number 1 on your list will be a car that Michael Schumacher raced in. Even though it wasn't a championship-winning car, Ferrari's F300 went up for auction recently, and it has a historic statistic. The F300 was used during the 1998 season where Michael Schumacher lost the title fight to Mika Hakkinen by 14 points, but he still won 6 races throughout the season, and 4 of those were in the F300 that was up for sale. That made it the only Formula One car used more than 3 times with a 100% win rate. If a car was that successful, why didn't they use it for the whole season? Schumacher claimed victory in Canada, France, Britain, and Italy with the monstrous V10-powered engine. The car was put up for auction by Sotheby's auction house in Mexico and ended up selling for more than $5 million. Surprisingly though, it's not even the most expensive of Schumacher's cars. The one he used to win the 2001 Monaco Grand Prix was sold off for more than $6 million, while Schumacher's personal collection was sold for more than $26 million. Not only did he make a boatload from racing, but he continues to make millions from selling memorabilia. These streams of income have helped leave his family with an eye-watering $900 million of net worth. Part of that went to buying a $7 million island in Dubai, and to his wife later purchasing a $30 million holiday island villa to start a new life. Next, Eddie Jordan is on the bad side of the Schumachers. Michael Schumacher's health status and condition are closely guarded matters. His wife, Corinna, has made sure that Michael is only visited by people in their inner circle, and it's no wonder one of their so-called friends secretly took a picture of Michael and tried to sell the exclusive photo for $1 million. So you can understand the family being a little cautious with their dinner guests. It turns out that one man who's not in the circle is Eddie Jordan, who has now gone public with how he's being blocked from seeing his former driver. Eddie Jordan's team was where Michael actually started his Formula One career back in 1991. Mercedes paid Jordan $150,000 to see what the German prodigy was made of at the Belgian Grand Prix, and despite retiring in the first lap of the race, his qualifying pace had impressed everyone. So Jordan wanted to keep him, and Schumacher seemed keen to continue with the team. That was until Benetton came along and snatched him up. The dispute ended up in court, but Schumacher was eventually allowed to escape his agreement. That might have left a bitter taste in Eddie Jordan's mouth, but 21 years later, he would be asking Corinna Schumacher if he could visit his former driver. He told the Irish Mirror that he was denied the request and that they were only taking direct family. Jordan also had some praise from Michael's son Mick, describing him as extraordinary after the young driver reached out to him. Next up, what did Michael say to Mick that made him choose racing? And what's the latest Michael health update? So don't go anywhere. Up next, how Michael shaped Mick's career. When Mick asked his father for career advice, the 7-time world champion had just 4 words for him. Mick, who currently drives for Haas, was inspired by his dad to start motor racing from a young age. When he used to go karting, he would use a fake name so that he wouldn't attract too much attention. But once he broke into junior categories, it was hard to avoid the media. In 2018, he won the Formula 3 European Championship, and he followed that up 2 years later by winning the Formula 2 Championship. That secured him a drive with Haas through Ferrari's Driver Academy, but he failed to score any points. He outclassed his teammate Nikita Mazepin, but once he was teamed up with Kevin Magnussen this year, his results have been a little underwhelming. Without a contract for next year and talk that he could be on the way out, Mick has reflected reflected on why he got into racing in the first place. In an interview with Mundo Deportivo, he said that his father was always his #1 fan. Michael gave him the best tips and approaches that he had to offer, but at the end of the day, Mick remembers one clear message from him. Michael would tell him that above all else, do what you love. That's when Mick thought it was racing that he loved, and so that's what he was going to pursue. He also said that being the son of the greatest of all time has never felt like a burden. In fact, he revealed that it motivates him to make his father proud. Next, Mick wasn't the only one getting advice from Michael. Probably one of Michael's biggest admirers is Sebastian Vettel. The two share a lot in common. They are both German, they were both prodigies, and they both won world championships. Vettel has said a number of times that Michael was his childhood hero. It was a big reason why he wanted to drive with Ferrari, but he was more than just a hero to Vettel. He also gave Vettel advice when they raced against each other between 2010 and 2020. Looking back on what he remembered about what Michael told him, Vettel revealed that his best advice was to just enjoy what you do, love what you do. Pretty much the same advice he gave to Mick. Now Vettel has gone on to have a friendship with Mick and helped to guide him through the sport. But with Vettel announcing his retirement this year, Mick might have to draw on his father for inspiration more than ever. Next up, Todt gives a Schumacher update. Racing was Michael Schumacher's life. He met his wife through racing, introduced his son to racing, and met some of his closest friends through the sport. One of those was his ex-Ferrari manager, Todt, who is still one of the family's confidants and has been the only person to give updates on his health. Earlier this year, Todt accompanied Michael's wife and daughter to receive a state award, with the Frenchman saying that Michael brought passion and joy to millions of his fans throughout his career. In the past, Todt revealed that he watches Formula One races with Michael. Now he has given one more update on the F1 superstar's condition. He said that he is in constant contact with his family and feels confident that Michael is in the best of hands, surrounded by people who love him. In an exclusive documentary released last year, Corinna had the same message. She said that Michael was different but here, and that he can feel the presence of his family all the time. It has been reported that it is costing over $100,000 a week of medical care to keep Michael fighting, and in 2019, he apparently had an experimental stem cell therapy to try to boost his recovery. No miracles have come yet, but if he is conscious and watching races, then there's no doubt he will be proud watching his son Mick driving in the sport that he loved. Do you think that Michael Schumacher was the greatest of all time? And would you like to see Mick stay in Formula One? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in the next one.